This is Uncapsule, and we're now going to talk about Mr. Beast, a well-known creator here on YouTube, who made a video recently in which he drilled 100 wells in Africa to bring clean water to a series of communities in Africa. Kenya, Cameroon, various countries around there, Zimbabwe, Uganda, Somalia, and so on. And, as expected, he's being criticized for it, right? Let's understand the criticism here because some of it makes sense. But there are others, which is what I tell you is the government realizing that it's becoming completely useless without any real function. It's just a scheme to steal from people. And then people keep complaining about this kind of thing here in Brazil. There's a lot of this, people getting together to... The city hall goes there and won't let us asphalt. It can't be the city hall that won't do it, right? It's nothing. That's because the government wants to steal more from society, and it wants to have the idea that it's the one that solves the problems. Then society alone, without a government, is incapable of solving problems. What's wrong? People can solve problems on their own, of course. Let's understand this here, shall we? This news was suggested by the man mass identity terrorist, an anarcho-socialist, and several other people. Thanks to everyone who suggested the news on our website at visãolibertaria.com. Thank you for watching our video, and if you like our content, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel. Well, Mr. Beast, who everyone knows, right? The guy, he has a very well-known channel, and he loves doing these charity things. He's paid for I don't know what there. He's done I don't know how many waterfalls for I don't know how many people. He's done a lot of things like that, right? Nice. I have nothing against it. I think it's cool. So what happened? He decided to provide drinking water for 500,000 people in the African region. Cameroon, Kenya, Somalia, Uganda, Zimbabwe, you name it. A lot of wells have been drilled there, and those communities that were without water, that didn't have clean water, now have clean water. How wonderful. It's a positive thing. There's nothing bad about it, right? And that's what I tell you. People sometimes complain when I say that society's way of taking care of those who are least able, who are most in need, is precisely through charity. And people are naturally charitable. It's the state that's the asshole that's getting in the way of society functioning normally, isn't it? Letting society function means letting people do charity work, and the biggest proof of this is the fight over the state itself. The states don't like it. The Kenyan government says that he is making Kenya out to be a nation of beggars, and that the Kenyan government doesn't like that. That it's the government's job to do this, and he doesn't know if he's done the right thing. There is a criticism made by another foundation that does just that. Water wells there in the Sahara, which is the fact that this kind of thing requires maintenance. And then, this criticism I thought was valid. I don't know if Mr. Beast is worried about it, if he did it the right way. Because if you drill a well and leave it there, over time it can break, it can cause problems. You have to do maintenance on it, right? And it's true that they have an expiration date. You have to do maintenance on them. The post has to be trained further. It has to fix something that's broken. And that's what we know we really need, right? I hope Mr. Beast did it. What she says is that she has a foundation that does just that kind of thing. And could have donated the money to her, she would have done it there. I don't know if Mr. Beast thought about it, but the government's criticism is pathetic, and it's the same as what happens here in Brazil too. A lot of places have had this happen, streets that are unpaved, then the residents get together and make a little money. Man, it's a lot cheaper than it looks. Get together, make a little money, hire a company and asphalt the street, that's it. Here in Brazil, if you try to do this, the government won't let you. They'll say no because it's out of specification. That you have to have a license for whatever. You don't need a license. The problem is that the government is useless. It serves no purpose. It has absolutely no function in society. It's totally unnecessary. All it takes is for people to get organized and do things, and things will come out the other side. People say, oh, but when you do a street fundraiser, not everyone will take part. Not everyone will take part. There will always be some asshole who doesn't want to pay. Oh, and will this asshole win when it comes to using the street? Yes, it happens. It's part of it. That's part of life, so what? The others will get together, they'll do it, everyone will be happy, everything will be fine. In the end, right? Why involve the government in this kind of thing? There are countless examples. I've made numerous videos here on the channel talking about exactly that. The people pooled their money, built a bridge I don't know where, and the government went and tore down the bridge. Not because it doesn't meet the specification standards I don't know what. No, it's the government worrying that if people start solving problems themselves, then the government will be useless. They can't let us. The Kenyan government said exactly that it makes us look like a government of beggars and so on. Now, this activist who spoke about the maintenance problem, she criticized the Kenyan government, saying that we are a nation of beggars ruled by millionaires. Why? Because there in Kenya, as you can imagine from your experience here in Brazil, Brazil is also a very poor country. Brazil is a country with a lot of poverty, but the government only has millionaires. The government is all rich, all well off. The same thing, what a surprise, happens in Kenya, right? So she says here that while people are having this difficulty, they need people from outside to come and dig wells. The senators earn, I don't know how many millions to have fuel in their cars every month and so on, but they have no money to drill the well for the people. In other words, the criticism she's making here is that, and it's the criticism that everyone makes. The government is useless. The government is a machine for collecting money and giving money to the country's political elite and nothing else. It serves absolutely no purpose. The government is a gang, just like the PCC, just like the Red Command, just like the militias, just like everything. In fact, it's a bit worse because the PCC from time to time does some work in favelas too. The militia people here also do work in favelas from time to time. But typically these people won't interfere if you want to do something to help the people there. If the people from the favela or the community want to get together and build a bridge, the militia won't interfere there. They won't make a big deal out of it because they know it's for the good of the people. The people are doing it there. They're making it better for everyone. The government will. No, you can't. You can't improve because I have to say that I'm useful for something. So I'm going to make these little bucks here, these works that aren't worth anything, that are cheap. That's what shocks people. If you start to make a budget for yourself together with your neighbors, you'll see that this kind of thing is very cheap. And people are dependent on the government. The government actually takes your money through taxes and collects it. It pays lavish salaries to a bunch of people, and in the end, what's left over to do the work is a pittance anyway. In other words, at the end of the day, the government only gets in the way, it only steals, it does nothing. And this is the government's eagerness to say that it's useful. No, I'm useful to help the people. No crap, the government is not useful to help the people at all, just as no other country's government is useful, and neither is Brazil's. It's useless. It's only good for stealing. The government's sole aim is to rob the population. If you want to have your problem solved, instead of waiting for the government to solve the problem or thinking that the government will vote for candidate X because he will solve the problem for me, no. You won't, my friend. You'll have to solve the problem. Because if you don't try to solve the problem yourself, talk to the people on your street. Talk to the people in the area where you live. If you don't solve the problem, the government doesn't care. If he solves it, he'll be stealing a lot more of your tax to do the problem. In other words, it's better not to have done it. It's better to take the government out of the equation and solve the problem yourself. This is the government's great fear. People realize that things work even better without a government than with one. And 99 Rays, click on the Become a Member button below to find out about the conditions and advantages of sponsoring the channel. More information about our project, visit our websites indicated on the screen.